Well, welcome everybody for being here today. Thank you. Whenever we have the opportunity to recognize outstanding work by police officers, it's a good day. And you're going to hear some interesting stories today. We just give you a snapshot of what the officers do in these situations. But I want to tell you something, that what they do and what they did during each one of these incidents could be here a long time if we talked about all the details. But what's most important is they put their lives on the line, or they save somebody else's life. It's kind of an interesting job, whether it's a medical situation, whether it is someone who is suffering from mental illness and wants to take their own life. We can go from just a normal conversation like we're having right now to the snap of the fingers, a blink of an eye, and everything changes in our line of work. And that's why I'm so proud of these men and women, because they stepped in, they put themselves in harm's way, not only to make our city a safer place, but to help somebody else out as well. And I think that you'll understand more when I read their citations. I'm just very proud of them. With that, I'm really excited because Mayor Coleman has come to these events with us. It means so much, Mayor, for our boss, the leader of our city, to come and share with us when we recognize not only our officers, but also our civilians as well. And Chris really cares about our city and about our organization and our police department. And we're very honored to have him here today, and I'm sure he has a few words for you as well. Mayor Coleman.
Truth be told, Chief, I come for the free cake and coffee, so, but I would actually come even without the cake and coffee, because I really do appreciate the fact that we pause just a moment to recognize our officers, and in another event, our civilians who have done extraordinary things that have really impacted the lives of individuals in this community. Often we talk about the police officers living out the biblical adage, no greater love has anyone than that they would lay down their life for their fellow man. Today we kind of recognize the other side of that. No greater gift is given than that they can save a life, that they can have the kind of impact to save a child, to talk someone who's suicidal off of a ledge, to deal with a life-threatening situation in a way that really alters an outcome that could otherwise be very bad and go the wrong way. These officers, they do tremendous work. They're out there in the community, but every once in a while they get that gift of having made such a tremendous difference that they really have saved a life. They get to walk away from that encounter as tough as it was, or as dangerous as it was, as intense as it was, and they get to just kind of step back. And I hope they do pause and reflect back on the impact that they have had, that they have saved a life, that they have made the kind of difference that might change the outcome for families or for children or for whatever it might be. It's really remarkable. I can't even imagine, and that's why I say I hope they step back, and I hope they really do appreciate what they were able to do. We recognize them for their heroism. We recognize them for their bravery. We recognize them for, in some ways, doing the job that they are paid to do, but doing it in an exemplary way, doing it in a way that maybe is above and beyond the call of duty. It's remarkable individuals that we recognize through these awards. The chief doesn't give out these awards. We don't recognize individuals like this for just any service. This is really extraordinary work. They're extraordinary stories, but also remember the gift that these officers have been given, that they can make the kind of impact that they have. They can do the job that they really, most of them went into law enforcement to do. It's not just about capturing bad guys. That's part of it. It's about really, really changing people's lives and making this community a better place. That's why we love our department. It's why we love our city. Congratulations to all the officers, and thank you for being here to recognize their bravery, their heroism, and their extraordinary work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick before we start, we all had mentors before we put this badge on to become police officers. And today is kind of special. I have a couple people that are shadowing me, the chief of police. They'll probably never want to do this now, because some things are just, I have to do a lot of different things. But I just wanted to recognize two young people that are here. They're going to get to recognize the great work, not only by our officers, but they get an opportunity to see what we do and see if they want to become police officers. They're from a program in St. Paul called Mentoring Young Adults. And if Latte and Jerome, can you stand up just for 1 second? These are our two young high school people. If we can give them a quick round of applause. I know I put them on the spot, but guess what? They passed the first test of becoming a police officer. Let's get down to what's really important today, and that's recognizing the heroism and the great actions taken by St. Paul police officers. And to start off, the first incident involves a heartbreaking call on a baby not breathing. And I think all of us know in this room with the young babies that are here, including this specific baby, Naomi. Can we get that to stay?
Don't worry, I'll do your.
There we go.
It's gonna slide down.
We'll let it slide. I think I've got it put in there pretty well. But anytime that we have a call with the baby, it touches all of our hearts. We have so many parents here. Some of us have adult children, but we all remember one thing. Some of us might be grandparents, including me now. The one thing you always remember is how fragile that baby is. And even when that baby's sick, I don't know about you guys, mothers, you're much better at this, but we're afraid. We're afraid for the safety. We want to make sure. I can remember going in at night and making sure that my children are breathing in their crib. It's something that's really important. So when we hear as officers of a baby not breathing or a baby in distress, it leads us down a path that's unbelievable. Our hearts are racing 1,000 times a minute. And these officers, you will hear their story in a second. Can I have Officer Susan Hartnett? And I don't know if Officer Hoyt made it here yet, but Susan I know is here. Step up in front, please. Officer Hoyt's with his daughter, and if he makes it, we'll get him up in front too, but Susan, you're going to take care of your partner. They are partners. On July 18th, 2010, Officers Susan Hartnett and Officer Krystel Hoyt responded to a call of a baby not breathing. Upon arrival, it appeared a 10-month-old baby girl was having some type of seizure and had stopped breathing. The family was understandably panicked, as would all of us be. They had attempted CPR, but it was not working. Officers Hartnett and Hoyt were able to open the child's airway and monitor her breathing until medics arrived. Their quick response and teamwork saved this baby's life. We are happy to report that baby Naomi is present at the ceremony here today, and if we could have baby Naomi and her mother please come up. Her mom is Amy Nelson. Let's see if we can get them to come up here. Here they come. I want you to have an opportunity to see mom and baby, and now reunited with Officer Hoyt. What a beautiful young daughter. And you know what? Like I said, it puts smiles on our faces, some sunshine in our heart, because this job is not always easy. And I'm just so proud of Susan and Chris for what they did. And thank you. Let's give them one more round of applause. On August 21st, 2010, Officer Nicholas Schafer and Philip Mohs responded to a suicide in progress call. A troubled individual overdosed on his medications, and upon the officer's arrival, he was straddling the window ledge of the 16th floor of his apartment, ready to jump. The officers gradually moved closer to the individual while constantly talking to him. When the officers were within 3 to 4 feet, the man realized how close they were and lunged out the window. I want you to picture that. So the officers are trying to work their way up. They're trying to talk calmly to this individual, and he decides that he wants to end his life and jump out the window. Quick response. The officers were able to grab him and bring him back into the room. Even after being subdued and handcuffed, the individual again tried to jump out the window, but the officers were able to stop him again. This was an incredibly dangerous situation. I mean, the individual was on his way out the window. And for these officers, luckily their momentum and their quick response stopped this individual from probably leaping to his death from the 16th floor window. Their bravery and quick response saved this individual's life, and it gives me great pleasure to offer them this award here today. So let's give Nick a round of applause. On January 24th, 2011, Officers Ortiz, Tesmer, and Billick responded to a call to check the welfare of a man. A distraught individual was on the outside of the railing of the Edgerton Bridge over Phelan Boulevard. So again, they're responding. Somebody's already on the outside of the railing, making a commitment to possibly end their life. Very dangerous for officers to come upon. This distraught individual was on the outside of the railing. He was pacing on a snowy ledge and at times not even holding on to the railing. Officers Ortiz, Tesmer, and Billick talked to the man at length about his family and friends, offering to make him somewhere take him somewhere warm and to talk and get some help. The watch commander then contacted Officer Brian Casey to respond because of his crisis intervention training. Officer Casey was able to establish a rapport with the man, and finally, after all the officers talking to the man for almost 90 minutes, they were able to convince him to climb over the railing to safety. The officer's tireless efforts and compassion on a very long and frigid evening saved the life of this man. Let's give them all a round of applause. On February 23, 2011, Officers Sneddon, Lino, and McGuire responded to a suicide in progress call. Upon arrival, an older gentleman answered the door and stated no one else was home and refused entry to the officers without a warrant. After having dispatch do a call back to the address, the officers could hear the phone ringing inside the apartment. The decision was made to enter and do a sweep to see if anyone else was in the apartment that needed help. Upon entry, the older gentleman continued to be combative. One officer found a locked bathroom and while standing at the door, heard a crash. He forced open the door and found a victim hanging off the ground from a sheet that he had kicked that had been tied around some pipes. He was blue and kicking his legs. Officers lifted the victim and cut the sheet from the piping. The victim became combative at that point and had to be handcuffed until the paramedics arrived. The officers' intuitiveness to enter the apartment and teamwork saved this person's life. And with that, I'm proud to give them this award, and let's give them a round of applause. And right before I do that, I should mention this is a second life-saving award for both Officer Chris McGuire and Joshua Lino, so pretty good stuff. On February 24, 2011, Officer Karels responded to a call on a possible overdose. Upon arrival, she found a man lying on a bed with a gray coloring and a cloudy film over his eyes. He was unresponsive, not breathing, and he didn't have a pulse. After immediately contacting dispatch to send for the medics, Krystel began chest compressions. Officer Karels continued to monitor his condition until medics arrived and gave him oxygen. By the time they transported the man, he was sitting up and alert. Officer Karels' quick response saved this man's life that evening. And with that, I'm proud to give her this life-saving award. Let's give her a round of applause. April 3rd, 2011, Officer Longen and Wall responded to a suicide in progress call where a person was attempting to jump from the Wabasha Street Bridge. By the way, this person already had made up their mind. They're going to jump. Upon arrival, Officer Longen and Wall found Officer Bravo holding onto the female's waist along with two citizens holding her arms. Officer Bravo had been working the flood detail, and I want you to understand, if you can remember and go back to that time, how fast our river was running. He'd been working the flood detail under the Wabasha Bridge when he heard the call broadcast that someone was attempting to jump from the bridge. He drove his squad to the location and found two citizens holding the arms of a female who was on the outside of the railing with her feet dangling over towards the river. Officer Bravo quickly grabbed the waist of this distraught woman who was crying to just let her die. Officer Longen and Wall immediately assisted and grabbed onto the distraught and struggling individual. Due to her position, the five of them were unable to pull her back over the railing until medics arrived. Once medics arrived, they all were able to bring the woman to safety and transport her to regions where she could get some help. These officers' quick reactions, determination, and awesome teamwork saved this distressed woman's life. The two citizens involved in this ordeal will be presented with the Chief's Award for Merit in the near future. So it gives me great pleasure and honor to offer all these officers a life-saving award. Well, I want to close off by giving you a quick quote. It's from Ambrose Redman, who once said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear." You know what? As police officers, do we ever become fearful? Absolutely we do. It usually makes us work even better. In fact, I worry more about police officers that don't have any fear than those that do, because we just never know from day to day, from minute to minute, what might happen. I just want us all to give another round of applause to all the award recipients, because I think that thank you. Their quick actions are what all of you expect of your family members and friends, what our citizens expect from our police officers. It's just a small snapshot of what officers do every single day. So I want to thank you for being here today. We have cake, coffee, and refreshments, and please make sure that you get an opportunity to thank and commend the officers who received these awards today. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.